After a surprise inheritance from her mother, Sarah Callander Beckett left New York to take on the formidable project of returning the 1,000-acre Combermere Abbey estate to its former glory.
Sarah, this is breathtaking.
The 12th century abbey and grounds had fallen into disrepair and needed more than a makeover to save it from ruin. But 30 years on, Sarah has done just that.
Talk about a grand entrance.
Taking on the restoration of such a historically important stately home is no easy task. And until she got married, Sarah took it on alone.
This is the porter's hall, was the original hall to the building, when the front of the house was that way rather than that way.
But you live here.
Yes, yes,
yes,
we
I
use
can
this.
see this looks lived in, comfortable.
It's very comfortable, it's very lived in. When we were restoring this, we discovered all sorts of little nasties under the floor, so that had to be redone.
Women on your own, you know what I mean, to take on an estate this size. You know, when you first walked in thinking, this is mine, I own this.
Yes.
You frightened?
Daunted rather than frightened.
Okay, yeah.
But quite excited too. Because it was pretty much a blank canvas, really.
A monastery until 1536, when King Henry VIII ordered it to be dissolved, each room reveals layers and layers of the building's past. And wishing to share that past, Sarah has opened up the house to the public.
This is our pièce de résistance, as they say.
Oh, this is special. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it.
Well, it didn't look like this when I first came back, but it is essentially, the beauty of this room is that it is literally every stage of the history of the house in one room.
When Sarah inherited the estate in the early 90s, she had it valued, and it was estimated to be worth £2 million. But the price of the renovations must be even more staggering.
I'm thinking about the cost. Do you have a ballpark figure? How much you've spent on restoring this whole property?
I think the investment into bringing it back to what it is today is about £6 million.
£6 million.
Yeah, about £6 million. Mm-hmm.
You stood here, I feel the responsibility. This is the history of the country. You know,
it is.
This has to be safeguarded, protected, preserved.
Exactly.
That's not just taking on an inherited property, it's so much more than that. And you said, yes?
I think of myself as a guardian. I'm not really an owner, because lots of people came before me, and there may be people after me.
Shall we have a look at some of the accommodation?
Absolutely.
Yes, I'd love to see it. Such a beautiful room.
A lover of equestrian life, in 1837, Lord Combermere built stables to house his 36 horses. But left unused and free to decay for years, Sarah saw the opportunity to repurpose the listed buildings and turned them into holiday accommodation.
Very nicely done, Sarah.
Yeah.
Lovely, yeah.
Well, this is Molebank, and this was one of the carriage houses. So Molebank is the person who gave the land to the monks to create the abbey.
And this is a nice way to bring the past of the house into the present and to share it with people.
Yeah.
Lovely to keep those original beams from the stables.
Absolutely. I mean, as much as we could, we've kept. And so there's symbols of what was here before.
The restoration work has cost, well, millions. How do you manage to sustain and live here, have a lifestyle here?
Because we've diversified. And so we've taken buildings that had no purpose and repurposed them for today. And that's meant that we now have these as holiday cottages and people come and stay. And we have the gardens as a wedding venue. So it feeds on itself. But these are vital because they will maintain these buildings in the future, which is very exciting.
Why don't we have a seat outside, a glass of wine, and we'll have a little chat.
Fantastic.
Sound good?
Yes, absolutely.
It's been 3 decades since Sarah swapped the glitz and glamour of New York for a restoration project even the bravest would run from. And not only has Sarah brought the history of the estate back into focus, she's made it a home and a thriving family business too.
This is a lovely spot in the garden.
Isn't it?
There must be challenges.
There definitely are challenges. And sometimes you don't expect them. You have no idea where they're going to come from.
Well, I've had the existing businesses and the estate valued recently.
Uh-huh.
Would you like to know the value?
Oh, I most certainly would. I'm very curious.
Businesses and the estate have been valued at £10 million.
Have they? That's more than I thought. Ooh, that is very exciting. Oh, when's my next holiday?
To think 30 years ago,
I know.
you took in an estate that was £2 million, which is still very, very valuable, to
Yeah.
£10 million now. What does that mean for you and your family?
Well, I think it means all that hard work has actually paid off. So I would like to think that as a whole, it's been a fascinating journey. And I think that that's wonderful news. It's very, very exciting news.
Thank you so much for showing me around this amazing estate and your beautiful home. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you for coming.
Cheers.
Cheers to you too.